Hi everybody, welcome to the County Seat. I'm Chad Booth. Today we are going to talk about wild and scenic rivers. In our minds, this is free-flowing water. It is the most pristine and open place with no restrictions at all. In reality, there are several restrictions that come with that designation, and the free-flowing waters may not be as free as you think. We'll discuss that in a few minutes here on the County Seat. But first we want to talk about schools. Do you know that most of the funding from schools comes from a real estate transaction? And we're not talking about property taxes. They are called trust lands, and they are administered by an agency called the State Institutional Trust Lands Administration. How do these people make money for schools with state property? We'll find out from Terry Wood.
The School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration, or Sitla as we commonly call it, is responsible for managing the trust lands in our state to provide funds for the public schools of Utah. So, what are trust lands?
When states came into the Union, the Congress, the United States, was land rich and money poor. And the Congress wanted to assist the new states in funding important public institutions like education, but they didn't have money to do it, so instead they made land grants to the states. Far and away the largest land grant, though, was for public education. And in that case, Congress granted almost 11% of all of the land in Utah to help fund public education.
The purpose of the land grant was not to provide land to build schools on, but to grant lands that could be used to generate money for Utah's schools. Utah originally had almost 7.5 million acres of trust lands that have slowly been sold into private ownership over the last century. Sitla is the only source for purchasing new private acres since the federal government stopped selling public lands in 1976. Trust land is generally sold in one of two ways, at public auction or through a development project. The money from the sale of those lands is now part of Sitla's permanent trust.
All of the money that we generate goes into a permanent trust fund for schools. And only the interest and dividends can be spent each year. And so the money that we earn today on trust lands is going to be around to help my children's children's children, when they come into the school system, because it's a permanent trust fund.
The funds are then given to the schools based on the number of students each school has. Now, every school in Utah also has a council that's comprised of parents, teachers, and administrators. And this council meets once every year to determine what the school's needs are that cannot be met by the monies appropriated by the legislature.
So even though it's not the biggest amount of money that the school gets, it's the only money they get that they have discretion in how they spend.
From 1896, when Utah became a state, to 1994, the State Trust Fund had about $50 million. In 1994, the legislature established the School and Institutional Trust Lands Administration that we know today. And since that time, Sitla has grown the trust fund significantly. The ultimate goal of the Sitla Trust is to be a major source of public school funding.
We had a goal that we set in the early 2000s to be at $1 billion by 2010. It was a serious objective to meet, and we were busting our tails to get there, but we did it.
And last year alone, Sitla distributed nearly $23 million to Utah schools. And that is no small chunk of change for our children's education. For the County Seat, I'm Terry Wood.
Thank you, Terry. That was a great story. I appreciate it. When we come back, we'll be talking about wild and scenic river designations. This is a special designation to protect sections of river across the state. But does it protect the communities that lie nearby? We'll find out when we come back on the County Seat.
Native Americans called it the land of the sleeping rainbow. It's a place of unparalleled enchantment, where history, splendor, and industry meet. We call it Sevier County.
Join us here in the heart of Utah for our 2011 Sevier County Fair, Rock Around the Stock. Entertainment this year will include BMX show, animal shows, music shows, and more. The 2011 Sevier County Fair in beautiful Richfield, Utah.
Sevier County. Come, explore the Paiute Trail and beyond.
What are the words that describe the perfect destination? Finding them all in one place is easy if you know where to look. Join us for the 15th Annual Old Capitol Arts and Living History Festival, September 9th and 10th in Fillmore, Utah. Fine art, mountain men demonstrations, and live entertainment are just a few of the attractions. Pick your adventure in Millard County, Utah.
Logan, Utah. We've got it all and so can you. It's in your own backyard.
Take a look. Take a glimpse. Take a peek. You'll be surprised by what you find. Check us out at DeseretPComplex.com. Our phone number is 435-843-4020. Adventure, beauty, excitement. Tooele County Parks and Recreation, bringing communities together.